This year, Skittles will be making a
not even controversial.
Not anymore.
It's just a fact.
It's universally accepted.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. That is what is universally accepted.
Just like yesterday was Wednesday.
If only yesterday was Wednesday.
last Wednesday.
If only yesterday was also Wednesday.
Hey guys, where's Adros?
Adros, he's in Peru somewhere.
I'm pretty sure his hippogriff killed him.
Damn it.
He found his checks.
I mean, he rolled 3 natural ones in a row. That's just instant death.
At worst, he's missing a couple fingers. At best, he's dead.
Oh no, he did survive like what, a 50-foot fall?
Like a 300-foot fall, actually.
He's still alive, so he's good.
He only
Nothing
survived
killed him.
because of a gust.
Nothing.
And an incredibly high strength check.
Nothing can kill that man.
Not true.
Hashtag
It's Wednesday.
invincible.
Hashtag better.
Guys, welcome to Perspective Check. You're here with episode
17?
18. I was wrong last week.
185.
I'm sorry. What?
18?
185.
Nope,
17.
nope, we're not that far.
Cool 17. Been doing this for so long.
It's 18.
See, I don't even know what episode we're
Wait,
on.
it's 18?
Just said it was 18. Last week was 17. I miscounted and said 16 last week. It's 18. Number 18.
I'm gonna have to watch the video on that one.
Just have to rewatch all the episodes and count.
So, we're just gonna get started.
Yeah.
So,
Natural one.
guys, on the last exciting episode of Dungeons and Dragon Ball Z, our group of adventurers, Nocturnum, awoke in the city of Kelisari after escaping from the chaos that erupted from the presence of an ancient 5-headed dragon in the city of Nark. They arrived in Kelisari alongside of King Hasida Brem's general, Calvin, and aimed to seek an audience and seek aid with Empress Vidania, the one in charge of Kelisari. Awaking the last morning of fall, the group found that outside it was snowing a lot, which is extremely odd to have happened because it does not snow and fall in this world. Unsure of what the cause of this may be, where this may go in the future, they went and sought an audience with the Empress, who, after discussing with her, said that help would be provided to Nark. She would not abandon the one who sent help for them in their time of need. However, the help she could provide now was limited, and she would not be able to provide full strength of their armies until the following spring. After ending that conversation with the Empress, Calran parted ways with you, aiming to go and speak with other diplomats that were in this city from other countries, other nations, seeking help in whatever way he could. And you all parted ways with him, saying that if any help that you could find, you would provide, and you would be sure to be in contact with him when the march back to Nark would be made.
Did she say what help would be provided
She said that she would
currently?
provide what help she could. However, from what you learned, there are only essentially 3 hubs with circles of teleportation within Hothane.
Hey, Rusty's here.
Hello, Rusty!
Hola.
There were only aside from Kelisari, there were only 3 places within Hothane that has circles of teleportation.
Okay.
Varithma, Greywall, and Nark.
Okay.
Nark was just destroyed, along with the Arcane Citadel, which is where all of these circles of teleportation were. So no help can be aimed to be inside the walls of the city. The only places that it can get to is Greywall, which is several weeks west of Nark.
So they'll send provisions that way?
They'll send what help they can, but they don't know how they'll be able to get provisions into the city without the dragon weighing lace to it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, weighing. Laying waste.
Wing laced.
Yes. Damn it.
You look awesome, dude.
But parting ways with Calrin, you all went and acquired winter clothing and went north into the Shimmerwood, where you met up with an ally of yours, June Law, a young girl who was revealed to, unbeknownst to her, be a drake made of starlight. She had a vision where she remembered that there was something at the second junction where you had gone to, originally you had led her to 3 to unlock her powers. There was something that was missed at the second. So going with her, traveling through the forest, you found your way to the ruin where it was found originally. Finding a secret phrase that was underneath an altar that was hidden before. You all said the phrase, and the floor to the temple began to lower into a cavern beneath, where you were greeted by a specter, what appeared to be the long-dead ghost of a dragonborn by the name of Vorus. He seemed to recognize Junla and asked her to go into another chamber, where upon returning, he said that he was here to test your strength. That by Junla trusting you enough to bring you here, spoke of your character, but he needed to know if you were strong enough to face the trials ahead. Did battle with him, defeated him. You're allowed to go into the next chamber. And that's where we're going to pick up. So, as you step through the hallway, where the double doors that were connecting to the chamber that you were just previously in, you set foot into this chamber, and the immediate scent of fresh earth and leaves fills your nostrils. A soft, glowing light radiates throughout this chamber, the seeming source being a tall tree. The gold and red colored leaves sway as if caught in a light breeze, reflecting light off the shining gold bark that covers the tree like scales. Sitting beneath it, you see Junla in her human form, on both knees, looking up towards a strange snake-like creature. It sits coiled in front of her, no longer than 15 feet in length. Its blue-colored scales are complemented only by a pair of bright orange feathered wings, several feathers extending from the tip of its tail. It sits pensively and watches Junla as you hear a stream of questions pouring from her mouth. Are there more shrines like this? What happened to the Order? The words of the host can't be true. The Platinum Dragon still has to be out there. The creature turns its head towards you. Its tongue flashes between its lips as you hear the words in your minds. Welcome, Nocturnum. You must forgive the transgressions of Vorus. He treated you as such at my behest. I needed to know if my speculations about you were true. And it appears they are. I see in each of you shades of greater things. Please, come forward. And I'll step a little bit further into the chamber. And you see, as you approach towards where this creature and Junla sit, the leaves in the tree above you seem to almost sway down in your direction, as if watching very closely at your approach.
How big is this thing, this serpent guy?
The serpent is maybe only 15 feet long, so with it being coiled up, it is sitting at about like your height. The wingspan is maybe a little bit further than if you just reach out your arms. The creature turns and looks to each of you. Looking first to Sindal. I see in you the wisdom and power of the Weaver himself, Gorla. Looks to you up there. The light of the Archangel Azrael shines in you, Racemar, as it once shone, helming the Dawnfather's Legion of Light. For each step you take, Master Dwarf, I hear the thundering of the hammer to anvil in the forges of Moradin. Looks to you, Korak. The blood I see flowing in your veins is the same that stained the battlefield where Corlon left Groomsh with but a single eye. The sound of your breath, Half-Elf, is the breeze that once brushed the silver hair of the Maiden of the Moon, Seheni. Looks to you, Lily, and you see its lips kind of curl
Look
back
of fear in his
bit.
eyes.
Luck and fate bends around you, little one, as it once did around Avandra. Before her luck ran out, she was forced into hiding by the Fury. Furthermore, I see the touch of the Platinum One himself has left traces of his presence all around you. All of your paths have been graced by his touch, some for quite some time, others for but a few moments. I'm sure you have many questions as to why you're here and what this place is. So please, speak your minds.
Well, if no one else has any pressing questions, well, I'm sure you've heard of the giant dragon that is wreaking havoc in one of the largest cities in the world.
You see, at the mention of that, the tree, all of the leaves seem to shift as if a heavy breeze rolls through this room. You see the snake-like creature kind of look up in the direction of the tree as it settles down. Yes, I felt its presence when it awoke. I'm sure you all heard of the legend that was Tiamat, the ancient dragon goddess of the chromatics, and know for a fact that she is no legend, but she was killed, as so many other gods were back in those times. This creature, this would-be god, is not Tiamat. However, I sense her essence lingers and twines with this creature's being. Allow me to explain with an example. When a tyrant rules over a nation, all the power within that country resides within the power of a single person, a single being. when a tyrant is eventually overthrown and democracy comes into play, a council is formed to replace that tyrant's power. That tyrant's power is not lost. It is merely redistributed. That is what we are seeing here. The power of gods is too great to be simply erased when a god is defeated. I believe that when Tiamat was slain, her essence was cast to the winds. And as such, it appears that this dragon has amassed that lost essence that was cast to the wind, and has amassed it for itself. So while not Tiamat herself, this creature has indeed captured her essence, and wields almost the same level of power that she once did. And that is what we face now.
What's caused this to happen after so many years?
I know not. As far as I had known, Junla was the last living creature, besides myself, that still served the Order of the Platinum One. I know not where this creature has resided for the last 1,000 years. I do not know. I don't know its motives. I don't know why it's here. I just know why. I just know that it is here now. And Bahamut would not abide such tyranny, such destruction, to go unchecked and unchallenged.
For the last 1,000 years, we were all taught that Bahamut was a betrayer of the gods, turned on them and joined forces with Tiamat.
A trick. A deception. I know not what witchcraft, what magics or rites Tiamat invoked. However, that the events that transpired 1,000 years ago they were not Bahamut's will. After Moradin and Corlon were defeated, after they were slain, I felt great pain, great agony within the Platinum One's being. He retreated to his fortresses, had no part in the war that came afterwards. He did not answer our prayers, but he did not lend aid to the Chromatic Dragon's assaults. There were those amongst the metallic flights that lost faith at Bahamut's lack of answer, and took comfort in the words of Tiamat.
So they mistook abandonment for betrayal.
As far as I have been able to see in my communing with the stars, what has transpired. And you see the creature, the wings kind of recoil in. It kind of shrinks back a little bit, kind of sheepishly. Bahamut was part of that betrayal. Physically. It was his claws that aided in the bringing down of the Weave Maker and the great smith that was Moradin. However, I do not believe that it was Bahamut's will. I think he was tricked, although I have no proof. I only know of his lack of deeds in the war that came. He offered no opposition when the host came for him. You see, Junla just kind of looking up at the creature. Then where do I play into this? Why am I still here? See the creature look down at her. You were the first that were to be undergoing a new ritual amongst drakes. Those that were chosen to ascend to a higher level than the rest of your kind. There were those during the First Age that discovered that when the drakes traveled to the stars, they were transformed over the course of hundreds of years. To obtain these powers, you were to undergo a new ritual, one that would accelerate the process. However, only after a short amount of time after you were subjected to the beginnings of these rituals is when the war began. And those of us here were unable to continue the ritual. To speed up your process that should have only taken 50 years. And instead you were left to play out the full length of over 1,000 years. For that I am sorry, Junla. Aside from this other dragon, you are the last of your kind.
That we know of.
There may be others.
If there was one that you didn't know of, there could be others.
Perhaps.
You said something. You mentioned when you looked at all of us, you saw gods in us, or described gods that we reminded you of. You said that Tiamat's power was passed on to this creature. The other gods that were killed, what happened to their power?
There are no exceptions to the rules in the way of this world. As with Bahamut, as with Tiamat, when a god is defeated or grievously wounded, that power is not lost, but merely cast aside, spread out into the ether of the cosmos. Gods amass this power through the strength of faith given to them by living creatures. When God is wounded, they are not able to be there for their children, so faith is lost. Faith is not simply an idea, but an actual essence, a power that flows across the cosmos. I know not as to whether or not any of you fully contain a full chunk of this of essence from any of these gods, but I see touches of their presence in each of you. And it looks to Bear, Lily, and Zarn. The platinum one. An essence, a shard of his, crossed your paths, was entwined with your story. That power is not here now, but it is part of your beings. Fenrir, I saw the same shard for a smaller amount of time spent with you. Brief lingering touches for you, Korak, Sindal, for some time as well. I don't know whether it's by the powers of the gods or by the fate of chance that you find yourselves here. As I can see it, there are two paths that lie before you. The first is to seize the destiny that lies before you and forge it into weapons to stop the return of this ancient calamity. The second is to refuse this chalice and walk away. If fate guided you here and you would turn away this chalice, then perhaps it can guide another here. I have trusted you with this much because June Law has faith enough to trust you as well. Should you accept, I will tell you of the tools necessary to defeat this beast. The choice is yours.
You so casually speak of shards, and that term strikes to all of our hearts in knowing that is precisely what this creature is after.
See, it looks to you. It is after shards?
This creature, he calls himself Vondrus, is after shards, he claims. A man whom we were fighting against in the arena when this creature arose. This great beast crushed him in his hands, in his claws, or talons, what have you. And as the blood ran across his scales, turned from one type of dragon to another.
You see a look of alarm.
Vondrus claims, as he said, if I'm not mistaken, that he searched for shards and that he had found one in this man as he crushed him, and his blood ran across his body.
It looks to all of you. How did Wondrous change?
The blood that went down his arm, when it washed away, his skin had turned metallic.
You see the creature's eyes begin to dart.
Was it a girl or a guy, the dragon?
It's a girl.
Girl. Her skin.
It's okay. You see its eyes begin to dart back and forth. No. No. Why would she? Ancient tales say that before the first age and the dawning of creation, that Bahamut and Tiamat were not simply brother and sister. Bahamut is the father of metallic dragons and Tiamat the mother of chromatics. However, stories say that There were once a single being, known as Io, the true aspect of chaos. Too great was its power, so great that its physical form couldn't hold together all that strength. It was sundered in two, giving birth to Bahamut and Tiamat, and the powerful children that they had from there. If what you say is true, then this Wundris must seek to collect these shards to reaffirm a new age of draconic rule, to bring about the end of this world, to ascend to godhood. I don't know.
If the power was too much for Io to contain, then perhaps if this creature collects the power it wants, it can split into two. If it cannot contain it.
I would fear for the destruction that would wreak upon the world. Stories say that Io was brought forth when he was wrought into shards, when he was wrought in two. That is what caused to bring forth the elemental planes of chaos. And that was within the astral sea that was forged. If those powers were to come together and brought to ruin in the material plane, the world as we know it would end. There would be no more material plane. The tears that already exist would be ripped wide open. The planes would collide together. This plane would be left with nothing but chaos.
Is there a way to identify the shards? Perhaps we can collect them before this creature does.
There would be too many shards for him to collect. If what he said is already true, then the split power of a god that has fallen, as Tiamat or Bahamut have already, the shards would have been split into so many places, so many beings. There's no way that this one creature could possibly find them all.
I have no way of knowing how many shards there are. There could be hundreds, or there could be 5 or 6. I don't know anything about how dead gods work.
I do not know how many shards there are. I myself have never been able to identify them. Only creatures that themselves have amassed such power, not to the level of godhood, but approaching, begin to be able to see them. I don't know how long it took this creature to amass these shards of Tiamat. It's been over 1,000 years since that war. This creature could have began immediately. Or it could have been a very slow burn to where we are now. However, I think that there is a much easier task. One that would prove much easier than to hunt down these shards and to collect them yourself, for you've already seen how they are collected. I will only speak of this if you agree that once you know of this task, knowledge of it cannot leave this group until after your task is completed. For I fear that once it is spoken of, fate has a way of these things echoing beyond this room, beyond hearing. That there will be others who will find these things, who will want them for themselves. Do you accept this task, this chalice?
Who? Where have you been for these past 1,000 years?
I have been here.
Hey. And where is here? What is this?
This is one of the 8 holy sanctums to Bahamut.
So why here? Why this one? Why stay? Why not?
The other 7 were destroyed. Alongside Vorus's help, we were able to hide this sanctum, to hide this great tree.
And just bide your time?
We knew not of this calamity.
Oh no, I'm I don't mean to oppose, this is a lot to take in.
We waited for Junla, the last and only Drake, the last only one whose blood is that of the Platinum One that we knew of. The only one that we knew for sure still existed. So we waited.
No.
Is Bahamut actually dead?
While my faith wishes otherwise. Yes. As are all the others. Tiamat, Corlon, Loredan, Lolth, Sahani, all lie dead and scattered.
The other gods, what's caused them to fall from power?
The people lost faith. They cried out for their help. They cried out for help amongst the gods. Cried, asking for anything, any sign of hope. But the wrath of Tiamat was too much. After Corlon and Moradin were slain, Lolth and Sahanin fell prey to her wrath. They could do nothing. They could not help their children. Provided what they could. But it was not enough.
Is not Loth an evil god?
Yes. None opposed the fury and wrath of Tiamat. Lolth enjoyed chaos, deception. Tiamat enjoys only destruction and death. With no life, there can be no chaos for Lolth to enjoy. Her children were in danger from the dragons that prowled the Underdark. She sought to oppose Tiamat, sought the aid of her sister, Sahani. Two tried to put aside their differences, and now they both lie dead.
Did Tiamat have any allies? Or she? Were all the gods against her?
Tiamat, while not having allies, there were those who relished in the chaos, in the death that ensued. Grumsh raised great armies. The chained oblivion brought forth chaos untold. No. Aside from tricking Bahamut, in that moment against Coralon and Moradin. As far as I have ever known, but Tiamat had no allies.
I have one very important question to ask. You know the old gods sounding quite personally of the new gods, and your, I can't say direct interactions, but your knowledge of them, of the new gods, and the favor they've gained over the world. Who among them is most dangerous? Who among them should I fear? Who among them deceived the most? Who was the most misleading? Who was a true betrayer or destructor, the same as Tiamat would have been?
Those amongst the Dark Six, none of them are to be trusted.
What is the Dark Six?
The Dark Six is the. Well, you would know this. The Dark Six is the antithesis to the Sovereign Host.
Okay.
There are math.
The shadow.
There are 15 gods in total between the two. They are known as the 9 and 6. 9 amongst the Sovereign Host, 6 amongst the Dark Six. None of them are ever to be held in true regard. None of them should ever be held in absolute faith. However, I also believe that was part of the downfall of the old gods as well. Holding absolute faith in a single being can lead to gaps in your faith, in your understanding. That is why so many now, in this new world, pay homage to all of the 9 and 6. They ask that the 6 not wage war upon them, that the 9 watch over their paths. As for which of them is the most vile, who would lead to such betrayal as Tiamat's? The one amongst them that I am unsure of is the Traveler. He amongst the 6 is different. He does not walk under the same dark shadows that they do. But the task I have before you has not to do with the new gods themselves, but with something that came from them. You have yet to answer my offer. Do you take this task?
I certainly accept.
Don't feel that we have a choice if we want to save this world.
That's kind of where I'm at, yeah.
So I accept as well.
I wholeheartedly agree. While I don't jump willingly into the potential giving away of my own life to save the rest of the world, we are the only few here standing next to you speaking on this matter. And I feel that it might be some time before another few would set foot in front of What is your name?
And you hear this kind of like hissing laughter kind of come out from the creature. I am known as Elodeth. Forgive me for not introducing myself. It has been, well, quite some time since I've had to play host to anyone besides Vorus. Well, you can just hear kind of snort behind all of you, standing back near the entrance.
What's that name again?
Elodeth. E-L-O-D-E-T-H.
Well, Elodeth, I don't believe that our happening here is simply coincidence. I believe that fate has brought us here. The fact that we've all met a shard in our existence makes me both fearful and hopeful that our meeting... Anyways, I don't want to die and I will accept. But I do it with a heavy heart.
Okay, just so you know, I am still listening. I'm trying to fix the music. Apparently it's a bit loud.
What do you guys think? Should we trust this big giant snake thing?
Probably more so than the big giant dragon thing that tried to kill us.
Dragons are two options.
Yes.
How long have you been with Junlaw? How long have you known her? Junlaw, yes.
No, I mean, not long.
Well, we've all mistrusted her and trusted her and mistrusted her again. And she has come through with every answer and every truth that we've ever sought after and more.
Well, sure, but this creature is not Junlaw. Junlaw has just met this creature as well.
I don't think I've ever really mistrusted you, no. I'd more mistrusted the one that originally had the vision of her.
I should say more misunderstood.
Right. What about the three? It doesn't make. There was three. We had to go to 3 junctions in this forest to bring Junlaw back to her form. Do you know what the point of that was?
You brought her to 3 of the 8 ancient shrines to Bahamut. Upon reaching the 3rd, it apparently was enough for her to remember who she was before. In the ancient ritual, the drakes would travel to the stars, spend 1,000 years amongst them, gaining a better understanding of the cosmos. And then, upon their return, would be born to that of a mortal, one who lives amongst the people, to spend time amongst them to get a better understanding of the world around them. Eventually, these visions and dreams would manifest, and you would begin to remember and feel a calling, bringing you back to the shrines, where we would have met you with open arms and led you to the other 8 shrines, where you would fully remember and gain a full control over your powers. I'm sorry that I was not able to reach out to you. I had to wait for you to understand. Wait for you to start to grow. But it appeared that fate had a better understanding than I did in sending those visions to that Alciad. Perhaps it's the will of the Platinum One still enacting out to have you have acquired your form before this happened. I do not know.
Can you tell us, can you tell Junlaw where the other 5 temples to Bahamut are, can she still grow in her knowledge? Can she still become more than she is?
There is more she can learn. However, many of the shrines that once were twisted and ruined in the aftermath of the war. I can help you to remember more of who you are and who you will become. That is why the task I have in mind would fall to you and not to her. I have to stay here with her. I have to help her remember who she is. The task I have in mind is something that you would work towards in the meantime.
I have one other question. The third shrine we went to, when Junlaw regained her Drake form, something was there, something dark and evil. It took control of her mind and turned her crazy, I think. Savage. We managed to bring her out of it, but I think it was more luck than anything that we managed to reach to her. There was a being down there. He called himself the Frozen Emperor? I'm not sure. I think we fought him. I think he escaped though when we activated that shrine.
The name of this... I know not what this creature is. It must have been something that happened after the war. The shrines held no creatures like that. The only people that were at these shrines were followers of Bahamut, the faithful metallic dragons that resided with us. Held no creatures like a frozen emperor. I know not why it was there, other than we built these temples upon ancient ley lines where the weave crosses over, so perhaps the natural magic of that place attracted others after the fall. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Looks to Fenrir, Lily, and Albert. What say you?
I won't see this land cast into shadow and chaos. I'll do what I can.
Same.
Is this a fight that we could win?
Champions of the 9 and 6 defeated her long ago. I hold faith that you can at least acquire what is necessary to perform this task. Yes.
Junlaw would have no role to play.
She will have a role to play in the fight to come. However, as she is too weak. She must stay here with me. I will help her to remember the powers that she gained while she was amongst the stars, to help her fully realize her capabilities. That way, when you and your companions have completed your task, when the battle against this Wundris comes to pass, she will be ready.
And what is it that we will be sent out to do?
If you accept this task, I will tell you what it is.
If you believe that we're the only ones that can really carry this out, I suppose I'm in. Can't leave my bros behind.
Very well. You and your companions must seek the ancient weapon used by our enemies to undo Tiamat. The chosen of the 9 and 6, champions of the sovereign host and the Dark Six, wielded 5 items of great magical power, called the Orbs of Dragonsbane. Each seized control over a part of the powers that Tiamat wielded. Together, stripped her of her power, of her very being. These orbs must be gathered together and used to rip the shards of Tiamat from Wundris, leaving this dragon in its normal form, one that can be defeated. There were once 5 of these orbs, one for each of the chromatic color she is comprised of. Since I sensed this creature's awakening, I have begun searching across the stars for where these items might be. So far, I have located one. The black orb, Acrid. You will find near the fields of an ancient battle that still rages on, in a land wreathed in darkness. Beyond the mountains of the wildlands, you'll need to head east into the Shadow Dales. It lies within a tower that once greeted the sun. I must continue the search for the others, and I believe that Junla will be able to help me.
The weapon itself is these 5 orbs.
Yes.
So we have to travel into the wildlands and then from there into the Shadow Dales.
If you travel just beyond the mountains, keeping them on to the north of you, within sight, and head directly east into the Dales, you will find an ancient tower that still stands. I see that it lies within.
And what will be guarding it?
I know not. However, because Junla will not be able to help you, and I can provide you no more, I offer you the only boon that I could think to offer. I apologize, Vorus. It is time that it sees the light of day again. You see Vorus standing off to the side. He looks angered for a second. Goes kind of more stoic and nods his head. The creature turns, and the Elodeth kind of turns to the tree, mutters a phrase in a language you guys don't understand. You see the tree kind of shift, and you see the bark begin to move and split. As it does, the kind of golden shining bark splits, and you see a sliver of silver begin to appear. Falling out onto the ground, you see a shield. Gestures, and he kind of gestures his head down for one of you to go and pick it up.
Pick it up.
Tim's here, guys.
You run over and pick it up.
Dibs on the next magical item.
I give to you honor's last stand. A shield forged from the scale of Urseth, the life giver. It was wielded by Vorus in life, the last champion of the Platinum Dragon. May it help you and protect you in these dark times ahead of you. And you see the shield that is warm to the touch, shining silver on the front of it. Very, very well crafted. In the front of it, an emblazoned symbol of Bahamut, the head of a dragon, blazoned on the front of the shield. Takes a moment. When you find this orb, you will need to return. Do any of you have means of traveling over long distances to come back here?
Unless there's a teleportation circle.
If not that, it's simple horseback.
I can only travel directly to Kelisari through their circle of teleportation. That is the closest means of travel I have.
You see the creature kind of let out this hiss, and you see the tree. You see the roots begin to lift up out of the dirt. The tree fully uplifts itself, and you see it almost take a step back. Now, it doesn't look like it has legs, but it looks like almost as if the whole tree is getting up and shifting backwards. And it shifts back about 10 feet. And the roots begin to sink back into the dirt underneath. And you see on the ground marks, symbols. Looks almost like this is, in fact, a circle of teleportation.
Well, that's convenient.
Oh, yeah.
How long would it take you to learn that?
Takes some time.
I think it takes like an hour or something.
Yeah, it just takes a little time.
Not a big deal.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say like a week.
In times past, we would not so easily hand out the circle. However, clearly things are different now.
I have to mention now, while it's fresh in my mind, you reference us as glimpses of gods dead, and we've been called champions before. We've been called champions by this frozen emperor. So strange.
He calls broken champions, I believe.
Broken champions.
It seems like everybody sees people of a bygone era in us.
Except for us.
Except for us, we're just a couple of people. Yeah.
I know not. Perhaps in lives past, your paths crossed. Were intertwined in another time, in another place. Perhaps you found yourselves here once again. Or perhaps it is merely chance. Either way, hope against this creature rests with all of you.
Will the forces that have always sought to destroy the remnants of Bahamut know that we have come here? Will they seek to find you now? You and Junma, if you are truly the last, and you have no means of finding anybody else, will they know that you've been found?
If they have not found Junla, they will not find me. I am not of their kind. I am merely a caretaker, one trusted to be here. No blood of dragons flows through my veins. However, there is always a risk. Even if things happen in secret, echoes and ripples reach out across the weave, across the world, stirring questions, mere happenstance, to bring other creatures here. There have been many who have rested in the temple above, when it looked as if it was just but a ruin. None have found us, whether by not knowing how to transcribe the words to come down here, or by chance. There is always a risk. Risks must always be taken.
Well then, shall we get started?
But I don't want to. I don't believe there's anybody else that would be up for the task.
If ever there was something for me to put my time into, this would certainly seem to be it.
There's people in this world that I care about enough to risk my own life to stop harm from coming to them.
Yes.
So
What
be
time
it.
is it?
It's still pretty early in the morning, like 9, 10 o'clock.
Shall we take some time to learn this teleportation circle and then sally forth?
I suppose we will make our way towards. It's the dead of winter now. We should discuss our means of travel through.
That's a good point. If we plan on travelling through mountains in the middle of winter, that's not going to be easy. You didn't even think about that.
Well, while you guys think about that, you take some time and you copy down the circle of teleportation. I'm assuming as well you cast Identify on the side at some point.
Yes, the shield. I was going to do
I
that,
was
yeah.
wondering.
Oh yeah, I'll take that shield, Tim.
No.
You can't.
It's gonna be like the most useless item ever for Lily.
He can't use
Plus
that anyways.
2 shield.
Please read aloud for us
Actually-
and all the fans.
This massive silvered shield bears the crest of the platinum
Massive?
dragon.
Lily?
Just put it in attunes.
She can't even pick it up.
It attunes. And I'm proficient in shields.
No,
It
no.
never tarnishes.
No,
The
no,
metal
no.
is warm to the touch. While wearing the shield, you gain an additional +2 in addition to the normal benefits of a shield. You are also immune to being knocked prone. When a creature's attack misses you, you can use your reaction to immediately make a shove attempt against that creature.
So essentially when you put the shield on, instead of gaining a normal +2, you're gaining a +4.
So I already have a +1 shield, so all I would do if I attune to it is just increase my AC by 1.
Correct.
Yeah.
And a ton
So-
of other crazy ass stuff.
Someone else can have my +1 shield. if
Druids
they
can't
want
use
it.
middle shields.
That is true.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
What is
yeah.
it? Even though it says I'm proficient in shields?
What?
Let me double check that.
What's your?
Are we taking a break?
What time is it?
I gotta grab snacks.
7:43. Yeah, you know we can take a quick
Oh, dude,
break.
I was because we were about to go straight into like some stuff.
Sorry.
Oh no.
Sorry.
The other problem is there's only 5
What's-
orbs and
wait.
there's 6 of us.
What's in question here? Whether or not you can.
So apparently druids aren't allowed to use metal shields, even though I'm proficient in shields.
Armor.
it doesn't
Light
matter.
armor, medium armor, shields. Parentheses. Druids will not wear armor or use shields made of metal.
Well then what the
Is
hell
that
is
really-
my
is that
plus
really-
1 shield made
It's
of?
like it's a buckler that is like it's like an elven buckler made of wood.
This is depressing. Still dibs on the next magic item. Shit just keeps happening. I'm not allowed to have
So
magic
what?
items.
Is it now
Maybe it's
just?
because you're real greedy.
Is it just
Can-
the
can-
3 of us that use shields?
Can we role play that up, please? Though
I don't think he
That I'm
wants
not
to.
allowed to.
Yeah.
It's
No,
not a depression
he's
that I'm
an
not allowed
He's
to
great
like.
hands,
No,
great
no.
He too.
I don't want to play your
He
character
never
for
uses
you, you know.
Yeah, use a
But
shield.
I just do have this picture in my
Yeah,
mind
you can't.
I can't.
of Lily.
This beautiful shield, and then the sudden realization, like, wait a minute. For reasons I can't use this. Well, who else needs a fucking shield? Who's in danger of getting hit in one shot? Like me. Like,
I mean,
kill.
I guess it's down to me and
The quest for my next magic item goes on.
I would love to.
That
have-
black orb sounds really interesting, though.
I just picture Lily. Fuck off.
Who's
I
the
mean-
next most
I mean, I
squishy?
certainly want it.
But who needs it the most?
my HP does pale in comparison.
Does anybody other than Eric want it?
Let's ask the audience and have them do a live poll right now.
No.
I'm not giving my thoughts one way or the other. This should be decided more so.
I would love to have it, but
This
it
should
just
be
defeats the
decided more
purpose
so
of my
by
character.
character than out,
If
in my opinion.
there is the ability to shove with it, perhaps our stronger fighter should be the one to hold it to fully utilize its
How
potential.
many items do you have attuned to?
I think we'll actually get it.
Well, Cody, my early items I didn't actually have sheets for them, so I don't know if they
The
require attunement.
shield
Well, that
shield
would be-
requires attunement.
Well, that would be getting replaced anyway.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, just take the shield. Then.
What is the shield you already have? Is it made of wood or metal?
It's a shield of arrow catching, so it is +2, and
Well, it's a normal shield.
it's a normal shield
Okay.
that you can use to intercept a ranged attack against one of your allies within 5 yards, which I have desperately tried to use, and everyone runs away from me.
Perhaps Lily could use that.
That's because you're in the shit.
Yeah, I want to know,
me.
but there have been fights where I like stay back and I'm like, I got this, and then people are like, no.
I'm gonna step
Damn
5
it,
feet
Which
forward
is
and
why
catch.
you always get my aura of courage and
Yeah.
other shit. Yeah, give it to Korak
Begrudgingly.
and just
As a sign of good
Put
faith
that
in him
on
finally
your
becoming a true member of Nocturnum.
Is my arrow catching shield wood?
Hmm?
Is the arrow catching shield wooden?
Oh no. The only thing that I would
it's not a
say.
+1 though. He has a
I know, I
+1.
already
It
have
plus
it.
it, well,
No,
it's a normal like it
+2
gives you a
days.
normal +2 when you equip a
his
shield.
is a
+3.
+3.
oh, it's +2 with against ranged attacks.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah,
Ah.
because you're +2
It's
versus
an
range.
extra +2 against ranged.
The only thing I say is that that shield has the symbol of Bahamut on it, and while perhaps we do not hold contempt for the Bahamut, much of the world does. So perhaps it is not good to openly carry it in any sort of public area. Perhaps we should keep it covered when we're in public.
Much of the world already holds contempt for me, but
Well, that's only going to make it worse.
I will say, yeah, it's made of wood, but it does require attunement.
And would you like? What is it? A +2 on ranged? And
It's-
yeah.
Range attacks.
And then you can intercept
Wait.
attacks if needed.
Wait.
What do you mean intercept attack?
So
He
if
can-
you're within 5
Shields
yards
are
of an
normally
ally,
+2.
and they
Mhm.
take.
So
So
what
if
is
someone is
that?
making a ranged
You
attack
can
against
take
you, gain an additional +2 against ranged attacks.
And if it's a normal melee attack, it's just the
it's just
normal
a +2.
Correct.
+2. I'll at least hold on to it. I
Yep.
don't know if I would use it yet.
Throw it at you.
Is there a card for it?
No, I wrote it down.
I'll write up a card for you on the break.
Might I also say, Zahn, in that
I'll
point,
probably sell it.
Korak does have a very fine cloak to hide his shield under.
The cloak would not draw suspicion at all.
It just.
I wear it anyways.
He would wear it anyways, and quite he should.
I'm just saying that we probably shouldn't carry it in public or in the open.
I'll keep it under my cloak.
I mean to ask, the shield itself, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but I'd really like to picture what it looks like.
Mhm.
Actually, size-wise, is it a squared-off shield and things?
No, so the shield, it is shaped somewhat akin to an actual a scale, where it kind of comes down to a point at the bottom. It's kind of it's kind of almost heart shaped, and it kind of comes together into a small kind of crest up at the top, where the 2 points come to meet in the center.
You're essentially
But
Yeah.
And it's outlined, so it's a metal out. So it's essentially a metal cresting out with a.
Yeah, and it kind of kind of
So it is
comes
like a
out
scale.
almost.
That would have been a
Yeah.
tough call for me.
And
It
on
is-
the
it is
outside, and on the
Actually,
outside,
it
has-
is
I'm just destined
shield
to never-
forged
sorry.
from
I'm
a
just
scale
destined
of a
to never get
dragon.
another
Sweet.
good magic item.
and they outline
Yeah, that's
Bahamut
sad.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's,
right.
there's
All
almost like an
my
engraving
all
in
my
the
spell
front
items
of the
have
shield.
been either
Dope.
purchased by myself or
In fact,
for one
technically,
pity
I'm 1 over,
item
but
that was given to me.
I don't have to attune to my hammer because I felt the god.
So Korak has the shield.
No, I have the ring spell holding.
That's amazing. That's like one of the best items we've gotten.
What else are we debating?
I get the
I
black
don't
one.
know.
I get the black one. It's fine. It's fine.
Actually, what do you have?
Black for Night Mother. It's Destiny. Destiny 3.
You just need to find a really evil item that just rips the souls out of people, and that'd be
Yeah,
perfect.
or one
for
that you can
Lily.
shove in your eyeball and
Sorry, Lily.
eye socket.
Sounds good to me. We should find one of those.
I don't know.
Yeah, we're taking that break.
Maybe
Yeah,
we'll
we're just bullshitting. Like, come on,
We'll take a break.
Yeah, just bullshitting at
Guys,
this
we'll be
point.
back in just a few minutes. Yeah, we'll be back. Mouse, where's the mouse?
I just saw the bullshit that was about to happen, and I was like.
you're saying, Subi.
I know what you're saying. And I don't like it.
We're back. So, about an hour passes. I believe it's an hour. Oh, she's not going to sweat
I
it.
forget.
An hour passes.
Got me curious.
And you jot down the circle of teleportation to the shrine. So, you find yourselves sitting here, and Vorus at this point has kind of, you saw after a while of him standing there, you saw him kind of step back out into the entranceway, and you hear the elevator rises back up and kind of seals all of you back down into this room. Until you've decided what it is that you're going to do.
Starts crying because he lost his shield.
I mean, you see his spectral form. He still has the shield. It just appears that as if
That's the soul of the shield.
he has the armaments that he was originally buried with, but now it has left. He still has what he had when he had in life. You see Eladeth and Junla after some conversation, they start out speaking in common, her asking questions about different things, and they slowly begin to sink into speaking in Draconic to one another. And you see after a small amount of time, she transforms into her full Draconic form. And whenever that happens, you see the tree kind of shift and stir as you see some of the one of the branches kind of reaches down. She kind of lifts her head up in its direction, and as the leaves kind of brush against her face, you see a ripple across the leaves. The leaves all red and orange. You see a ripple of that same starlight roll across all of the leaves. The branch reaches back, settles in to that red and gold and yellow colors of the leaves. So, Nocturnum, what do you want to do?
Which way? Which way is it to Mordor?
I figured it out of the way.
Left.
Do you go doing?
No.
Alright, D&D's over, guys.
Guys, it's been fun.
Forever.
Stream is done. We're canceling. Perspective check. So,
I
Find a bridge to jump off of now.
Sorry.
Can you show me the road?
I believe we need to prepare for the cold and get going.
I'm prepared.
Well,
We already have these beautiful winter clothes.
Does the shield help keep you warm? Or
It-
is it just faintly warm?
it's warm to touch. It'll be a nice warm pillow to put underneath your head, but in itself, it does not prevent the cold from affecting you.
I guess the question is, how do we get through the Wildland Mountains into the Shadow Dales in the middle of winter?
I don't know the
Well,
map.
beginning of winter.
I don't know what the actual map looks like in general.
Sure. What are your... Oh, I guess...
Where we are now, because we're outside Calcari, up towards the woods. Shit.
Pull up my map. In a moment. Screenshots? No.
Because
Downloads. Where
The
did I
Shadow
put it?
Dales are east.
Correct.
You're talking, I mean, like really far east.
Not super far east. I mean, like a good distance, but
Through the mountain pass.
so there is like where you guys were originally in Varithma.
Mm-hmm.
If you head south from there, there's that gap that was in the mountain chain where the army from Tandir and Varithma had gone to battle against the orcs. Up Varithma is right up against the edge of the Shadow Dales. So you know geographically, that would probably be your best bet, would be to go to Varithma, go south until you're just beyond the mountains, with them on your north, and then travel east.
I see. So it's sort of like heading backwards from Calisari, from the path that the orc from the way that the orc invasion we were running from originally. We'd almost be going backwards.
We left the cart in Narc.
I don't know if you have recognized this yet, Zon,
That actually made me laugh.
but a lot of the pieces of equipment and things that we were throwing on that cart were, well, not quite as valuable as some of the gold that we might be earning had we not had the cart. And we were able to move a lot more hastily.
What did you just say?
Are you saying that the cart...
Very confusing.
Listen, one of my goals in life when I set out on travels is to eventually become a traveling merchant. I needed that cart to do that.
So,
Perhaps you'll find enough.
if your idea was to travel along the same path the orcs took through Hothane, then to come across the wildlands, you would have to cross the whole of the wildlands, as well as all of the distance that you and your group originally traveled, and going up through Dragon Roost, whatever else.
Right.
That's coming from there all the way to here.
Right. So
I'm talking about coming from Verithma,
And then
coming
going
south, and then cutting through there.
right. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
And you do know from the conversation that you had with the Empress, you do have access to the Circle of Teleportation to Verithma. Normally that wouldn't be given out, but people who saved the King of Narc probably have access to the Circle of Teleportation to one of the 3 circles that are in Hothane.
Right.
As much as I don't want to go back to Verithma, it might be our only way to get to where we need to go.
Why would you not want to go back to the rhythm?
Do you remember what happened last time we were there?
No.
It was pretty big. It's pretty important. There was,
That was that who really murdered that man.
She's
yes.
I'm sure it's all blown over by now. Sing is the only witness was killed.
It's true.
Wait a second. Hold on. 1 second here. Did I ever actually know the full story about that?
Don't think so.
I don't either.
So you just heard that they casually talked
Yeah.
about the fact that Lily murdered a guard there.
Well, I was trying not
By
to say
they,
anything.
you mean all bear.
Listen, it was a tragic accident where Lily didn't understand the full extent of her power,
Yes.
and it was sort of
Who? She killed a man, and who did she kill?
And what means?
And certainly what means did she kill somebody? I could kill a great many of people in a great many of ways
don't do
with
that.
my magic.
I can't wait to haunt your dreams.
it was a mistake because honestly, I blame Vay for it. I blame Vay for it more than anything. Vay was kind of spooked her, and
Are you going to call him a bad influence on her magic that she killed a man?
Well, yes. It was an accident, and she's a child, and he spooked her
I understand.
by attacking a god for no reason.
Yes, I understand that she does not know her magic very well, Lily. I apologize for saying it that way. Lily, did you kill somebody?
Did you?
Is it just us? Or it's just our group?
You, as you're having this conversation, you see Eladeth is just looking over in the direction, just this look of doubt of who did I pick to go on this journey?
Oh, we are the champions of the
backsies.
fucking realm.
No takesies, backsies.
We're not getting the shield back.
No, I
not getting
am
that
under the
shield back.
assumption that you are far enough away having this discussion, as her and Junlaw have kind of gone off to the side, and the two of them are discussing in Draconic.
And we're discussing on our own how our means of travel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
Alright.
you murdered a man.
It was an accident, okay?
Because some other person attacked him first.
It was an accident.
I've killed a man. I mean,
We were in Verithma, and there's something shady going on there. We believe perhaps a vampire or something is in charge of the government. We thought perhaps there was some sort of conspiracy going on with the government there. And for some reason, two of the people we were with were completely convinced 100% that everybody in that town was evil. So they,
Oh, right.
he attacked one of the guards for little to no reason, and Lily just panicked and casted a spell on him, murdering him pretty much.
Can I tell if any of that is true?
I'll roll an insight check.
5.
I mean, that doesn't sound like an accident.
Just sense me lie.
I did not intend to murder him. Only incapacitate.
Like microwave.
It still haunts me to this day, which is why I can't
You ever
use
put anything
metal
strange in a
shields.
microwave when you were a child?
That's the reason.
You ever microwaved a spoon before?
That's exactly why I can't use metal shields, because every time I touch something metal
She has
that is
flashbacks.
armor based, I just have flashbacks. PTSD.
Well then.
Back.
Yes, back. So yes, thank you, Albert, for announcing it to everyone now.
I'm not the one who murdered someone.
No, you're just the tattletale that told everyone about it.
Still, it helps you sleep in that young child.
Still, Lily, I am sorry that you may have still been learning your magics at that point. And that's a way that you had to learn. It's unfortunate.
It was tragic. We tried to put it behind us, but if we go back to Verithma, I suppose we're at least going to have to confront it a little bit.
Well, there is that matter of Krem.
Well, he's dead.
No, yeah, I know. So I don't really know how much of a confrontation we're gonna have to have.
It's true. They were looking for Vey. He was the only person spotted.
I certainly don't think it's worth us avoiding the place if it's
Right.
the most convenient way to
So
accomplish our
didn't most
mission.
of their army perish from the orcs?
Yeah. You remember that.
There was a dude who was most certainly a villain, who we met for just a moment.
He was not of Verithma.
Yes, he was from
He was the only human ranking officer in Tandir's army.
He was like
The
a
Dwarven
very
army.
obvious
That's what he
animated
wrote
villain.
down in his notebook.
I
Sorry.
almost guarantee I
Is
wrote it down.
Verithma bigger than Single Star? I just remember it. I
Seems
don't
like
know, I
there's
just
so
seem to
much
remember it not
space
being
not
big
being
or
used
important.
in that book.
It just seemed really insignificant, which is why I
don't think
refused
so.
to why it has a
No,
teleportation surge.
Verithma is less of a
You have some pages
city
where there's like a couple
and more
things
of
and
a.
that's it. New page.
Verithma is less of a city and more of a military outpost than anything. Verithma is the central defense hub for all of Hothane's forces that are along the borders of the Shadowdale. Which is why it and Greywall are the only two places, aside from Narc, that had teleportation circles in the entire country that are legal. There's chance that there are illegal ones hidden throughout the lands. However, the three main defensive places, Greywall is the main defense against the Dark Frontier, and Verithma reinforces the armies against the Shadowdales as well as the Wildlands.
I wrote it down. His name was Barrett. I wrote clearly a major antagonist, leader of dwarven forces from Tandir.
Clearly,
Did
a
he,
major
I think
antagonist.
he might have had a symbol for the silver flame. I don't remember. I have that written down under it.
You have a good memory.
So he seeks out evil, but I think he's evil.
How would this? How's this going to work? Just going to teleport in there? Shoot. Hey guys, what's going on?
Perhaps there's somebody we can send a message to ahead of time magically. Perhaps they know of the person who keeps the circles, watches them.
Yes.
So we're going to, for
I'm not too
Rhythm,
familiar with how
because
these
it gives
circles
us
work.
Pop in.
it gives us a quick
Kill
route to
everyone
where
with
we
it.
want to get to.
It's a lot faster than going from where we are now, or Kelasari.
Does anybody know if you can trace the origin of a teleportation circle? Where you started? Would that be
That's a
brought
good
into
question.
question?
Roll an Arcana check.
I got this.
12.
12.
Did you just crit? No.
Wouldn't have mattered if you rolled a crit anyways. You're not proficient in Arcana. You would have no understanding of this.
His explanation would have been amazing.
Yeah, I would have had a good time.
There's not, as far as you understand, you don't really know of it because it's more not about where you started from. Because you're essentially tracing the circle of teleportation wherever it is that you want to be teleporting from to a destination location. So, as far as you know, no. It's more of just, it's a one-way trip.
So, yeah, well, I know of no magic that would be able to trace you back to your starting point.
I'm just more concerned that if we just teleport in there unannounced, if we'll just be immediately attacked or arrested or something by the guards there. But
These circles are certainly
I have.
fully guarded.
We
I'm
will.
concerned.
Yeah.
We will be.
No, I
make-
agree.
we
I
will.
know, it's just
If we have a symbol from Kalren or somebody that is of importance, we could easily flash the symbol and be known, I think.
So, who all knew that this murder had taken place?
Are
Well,
we
us
still
now.
on this?
No, it's behind. It's
We're the only ones other
Oh,
than
are we-
a companion of ours that's not with us anymore. A couple of companions that are no longer with us.
And no one else?
Well,
There was
we
no.
don't,
There
we
were
don't
no
know who
witnesses.
Krem would have told it to, so maybe I should just go in disguise.
there were none who are left.
Just
Okay,
cover your
just-
ears, perhaps.
Just transform
I
yourself.
was gonna transform into an owl and perch adorably on Zarn's shoulder.
That works.
Will you be all right not
That's in his
speaking?
hat. Just
Because his hat's too big.
The white
burrow
robe
yourself
just rests on
in
the
his
white
hat.
Alright, I'll bear his shoulder.
I mean,
my hat
can
blocks
I
the shoulders.
ask Illideth if there's any way to, like, will it be safe for us to use this transportation circle or teleportation circle?
There are no dangers to coming back here. The only danger that you will leave behind is if you leave the circle in a place that a clever creature could see it.
The one that he's memorized.
You trace the circle into the dirt. A clever creature, upon seeing it, could perhaps divine where it came from. So if you're in danger, being followed, and you wish to return here, I would suggest going elsewhere first. Come here only when it's safe.
I believe possibly what Fenrir was trying to get across is it alright if we teleport directly from here to that circle? Is there any way to trace where we came from, or should we go elsewhere before we teleport?
As far as I understand, from the wizards that traveled here in ages past, I believe there is no complication. You'll leave no trace of. You'll not use the circle that you had here. You'll not be using this circle. You'll be drawing your the destination in the dirt. Okay.
Right.
So if we decided that this is the way we want to go about it.
Yeah.
I think first we have to go back to Kalasari because we don't have Ruthma.
That'll be good.
Queen will give us access to the Verithma one.
We
Yeah.
we don't. We don't have Verithmas.
No.
Not yet.
So I'll just go back to Kelisari.
And the matter remains that we need some way to travel during the winter if we're planning on doing this.
I mean, we had June Law to get through the forest.
She's can't come with us.
Huh?
She's not coming with us though. She's staying here.
That's kind of my point. If we have to go back to Kelisari.
I can get us through.
Korak was your original guide.
Yeah.
To bring
I was
June
just
Law's
saying
back.
more of the snow aspect with flame, melting snow. I didn't know if that was going to be a factor.
I mean, it'll just be a slower trip back.
But I think we can just teleport right back to Kelisari, can't we?
Well, we can certainly go directly back to Kelisari as soon as we're ready to go back.
Oh, okay.
We can do that then.
And, but I suppose it is still a posed question. Once we go to Verithma, we still must head east. Or, I should say, south, and then east.
And then east.
Yes, that's-
And we will still be traveling through snow. So, we can either prepare ourselves for it, or I suppose we might look for other ventures while we're in Kelisari as to how to hasten our travels, seeing as how there is a great tyrant dragon destroying all of Nark and enslaving all of its people.
Perhaps there's a means of melting snow around us, or at least producing warmth magically.
Possibly.
Well,
Well, let's go back to Kelisari. Start there.
So,
Are we in agreement?
you taking a few minutes?
Give me 1 second. Let me think about
Sure.
this for a second. I feel like there's another question.
June Law, if you ever have a need of us or wish to speak, just get a hold of me the same way you did last time.
All right, I'll make sure. And you, her voice kind of carries that deep, kind of resounding bass with her in her dragon form. I'll make sure to reach out to you if anything happens, but I feel right here.
Fair enough.
I wish you the best of luck in finding this acrid. Wish I could go with you.
Well, we all have our place in this mess of a world we're in right now.
And it kind of sits. She kind of sits down and nods. I guess the mine is here. When you return, and when we're done, it will be beside you and your companions. While we go against this Wundris. Until then, be safe.
Right, looking forward to saving the world with you.
Eladeth, I do have one curious question.
Yes.
You were not aware of Wondrous's existence beforehand. Do you think that she simply stirred and rose, or was allowed to remain hidden somehow, or came from somewhere else? How was she under Knock? It's a question that baffles me.
She did not come from underneath Nark. I sensed her stir from somewhere in the east. Flew across great distances. Nark was her choice of where to stop.
Isn't there a place far to the east called the Dragon Wastes? Large portion. Perhaps that's what she was, amongst the great battlefield of dragons. I mean, unless she came from across the sea.
I don't know. I don't know from how far east she came. But she was not under the city.
What was the timeline relative to June Law's awakening?
this disturbance that you felt?
I only felt it yesterday.
Okay.
Well, thank you for everything.
Let's roll.
Yes,
I'm going to leave. Just it's the only thing that I have that's relative to this. It was a. What was it shaped like? I got it from. It was. I can't remember his name now. I can't. It's not coming up. It was the man who led us to the not centaur, but the centaur that
Kalen?
Kalen and the centaur. What was his name?
Oh, the ranger.
Yes, the ranger. His wife's.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's right there. I got it.
Deep
Don't
dive.
worry. Deep dive. Seminole and priest.
I want to know.
See, I like the joke.
Wait, I think I want to.
I'm going to get it before you. Thora.
Damn it! Charmin Bush sickle necklace.
Yep. That's it. Yeah.
That was his.
Thora.
Those were of his people, and I will leave it with her. I'm holding on to that. I'm going to leave it with Jim-Law and give it to her.
Oh yeah. That was you. I was thinking that was Jeremiah for a second.
No.
Wait, what are you
I'll
doing?
just set it on a rock near her in her dragon form. Or drake form.
Like, what are you setting down? What is this?
She. It's you see, you remember it was a it's a simple wooden symbol of Arway. You see that it's looks like a bushel of wheat alongside of a sickle. And you see Sindal set it down in Junlaw. And you see her smile. Thank you. It's nice to have something from home. She just kind of, you see her kind of bend down and kind of pinch it between two claws. She just pulls it up in front of her. So just keeps holding on to it.
The fate of our meeting, Thor, is what led us here. Led us to you. Led us to saving you. It's only right that I leave it with you.
I'll keep it safe. Thank you.
Oh.
So, take a few minutes, kind of pull out your staff and start to carve the runes into the ground. Where are you traveling to? Kalasari?
Yes, Kelsar.
Okay. So, you taking a few minutes, carving out the runes. All of you step onto the circle.
Take my shield and give Boris a nod and yeah, what's up, brother?
Before we,
Taking
like, while
care
he's
of
carving the circle out, I'm just gonna do a sending to, was there a person that was in charge of the circle?
I don't know what that name would be.
Yes. I think I have it here somewhere.
Whoever we like saw at the circle or was in charge of it, I'm gonna send a sending to just like a few minutes at a time. Just
My brain insists on me finding this.
Alright.
Estelar Teletho.
I'm gonna send a sending to him and just be like, hey, we're gonna come through in a couple of minutes so they don't kill us.
Okay. And as you all feel your feet lift up off the ground, feet set back down again. Find yourselves in a very familiar small room. Opening up the door. At this point, it's still pretty early in the morning. You see a bit of traffic of people walking around. There's some people that are hurriedly walking towards different circles of teleportation. And you can see some of the guards are taking note and watching as you go. You see at this point, coming in through the through one of the doors, you see I just said his name. Estelar, along with a contingency of 4 guards. So he walks forward and says, Nocturnum, I believe you just came through these circles a few days ago. I hope nothing is wrong that you've had to use our circles already, only being a few days. Is everything alright?
Everything is fine. We just kind of couldn't travel with all the snow. We left the town city for a little bit, and
It's fair. We are into the thick of winter now. I apologize. Formalities are formalities. He gestures to the 2 guards. 2 guards flank Korak. So, Nocturnum, you have yourselves here. What are you doing?
Well, I believe our tasks are very clear here. We mean to find an efficient way to travel through the snow once we arrive in Verthma, and also to secure our circle of teleportation to Verthma. Are the 2 key factors. Other
Well,
than that,
the circles I can help with. We've already received word from Calorin that I am to provide you with the circles of teleportation to both Greywall and Verithma. As per their time of need, you being Erato, I believe that everything from all the paperwork is in order. And he provides you 2 copies of the circles of teleportation.
perfect.
thank you. Well, that makes that easier. Perhaps we need to speak with somebody about possibly finding some sort of means of traveling in the winter on this City of Magic.
If I will be heading to the reliquary on that. There are possible spells that might aid me. I must research that and look into it.
Are you still having this conversation around Laris or no?
I figure we're starting to walk, probably.
Okay.
Just
So as the 6 of you start to walk out, Sindal, you're going to the reliquary. The rest of you, where are you going to try to go find things?
We're waiting until.
Or are you going to wait and see if you can find some spells?
No, like our group's waiting to get access to this.
To Verithma?
Yeah.
No, he gave
Yeah.
Sindal 2 copies of the Circles of
I
Teleportation.
want to
Oh.
go speak with like somebody high up. I'm not just going to barge into the Queen's place, but like what's the Queen's girlfriend?
Tenacity.
Not doing good with names tonight.
No, you guys are not.
I mean, it's tough. We took that break.
Yeah, we were really good before the break, honestly.
If she's, does she have like an office or something, or?
An office.
It's,
Hours are from 2 to 4.
she does, but it's up in the heart of
Small
magic.
window.
I'm gonna go and see if I can see an audience with her.
Those are
Queen.
open office hours. You have to make an appointment.
Yeah, you speak with Alaris, and he sends someone out over with you to lift you up to the circle, up to the heart. So you're going to speak with Tenesia. You're going to the reliquary. Where are you four going?
I'm gonna tell my guards that I need some warm winter clothing and ask them where I can get some.
Don't you already have one? Winter
Yeah, we already
I
bought
don't,
that.
I don't have a lot.
I'm gonna roll with.
Oh, you're looking to get more warm
I
winter
mean,
clothing?
I didn't buy.
We
I
could
don't-
we could buy a whole bunch and store it in the megaphone in case our clothes get wet.
It's not a bad idea.
Kind of want to get another tattoo. I just don't know what
I don't
I
think
want
we
to
have
get.
time for that.
Just like a small one, a little one.
Just like a stupid Japanese symbol that doesn't mean what you think it does.
Vegetables.
I'm gonna roll with Korak to make sure he's not mistreated.
Okay. A bear? If nothing, you could just pal around with everyone else. Doesn't really matter.
I'll just pal around for now.
And Lily's going to get a. Oh, you're
Power
palling.
at
You're
the
palling
moment.
around. Okay.
Unless I can think of something.
Okay. So we'll do. So you feel your feet lift up off the ground. You find yourself in the same familiar small chamber. You open up the door as you see there is a queue of people kind of waiting to use the circle. You very hurriedly find your way out, asking around. You are pointed into the direction of where Tenesia's office is. You kind of get to the door and you knock, and the door kind of gently swings open. Looks as if the office is empty, and you're told she'll be there in a few minutes.
What room is this, by the way? Is it one of the rooms we've been in before?
It's one of the small side chambers that are off of the main area where you guys fought the suits of armor.
Okay.
There were a few small offices that were off of that, and it's one of those. Kind of walking through into that entrance area, you see that the suits of armor are restored. They just stand sword and shields in hand.
Sindal has a flashback and they slapped out of the air.
You look up and you see there's just a small splat of blood on the ceiling. But you're told to go in and just have a seat and make yourself at home while you wait. And you take a moment and walking in, you can see that the office is there are a handful of small glowing baubles. You can see that there is one piece of three different red, purple, and blue that kind of float around one another, and as they kind of come together and touch, they change shapes. There'll be triangles that manage to fit together just right, and as they float away, there'll be circles, and the colors will change. They'll come together, and it just seems to just be a floating ornament. Several bottles of liquor are on the shelf, and after a few minutes, you see Tenesia open up the door, wearing her same kind of simple gray clothing that you see her wear most of the time, that is not really befitting of someone of her station, but she doesn't really seem to care. You see the bags under her eyes as she walks in and gives you a weak smile. Day's on. It's good to see you. What can I do you for? Would you like something to drink? As you see that she goes over and uncorks a bottle of bourbon and pours herself a glass.
Certainly, if you're offering.
She pours you another. And as she sets your glass aside, she pours hers, and you see that she lifts it up and takes a long drink, finishing the whole glass.
I sip it. Does it taste?
Well, that's before she's brought your glass over.
Okay.
She's drank a whole glass, poured herself another one and stopped it. Walks over and sets yours down. Takes another sip.
I sip it and like cringe when I drink it. Like, ugh.
I would have thought you were made of tougher stuff than that, son.
More of a wine or an ale person.
Everyone has their choice of poison. But what can I?
Everyone's allowed to be a bitch.
You're not here, Fenrir.
How can I help you today?
I apologize for seeking counsel on such a short notice.
It's not a problem.
There's two things I wanted to ask you about. First, we're going to be leaving, going to Verithma. We have a lead to follow, and perhaps something we can do. But do you have any idea if there's a way to make it easier to travel through the snow? Magic items that can keep us warm, or some way of kind of melting the snow around us as we go?
There are lacrima that can be purchased to help provide warmth. As for melting snow at the rate that it falls,
Or you can travel in on top of the snow and there's perhaps some sort of shoes or something.
there are some items that you can purchase for that would make it at least easier. It won't keep you on top of the snow exactly, but it will stop you from having to walk through 4 to 5 feet of it. Yes, there are items. I'm sure you could find something at Alaris's. She's had a few months to get her shop back together.
Cool.
May I inquire as to what this lead may be? Merely curiosity.
Just
This is tough times.
nothing particular. We just have some ideas. We're not really sure what we're doing. But we figure we might as well at least go to other cities and see if we can find some aid, some ideas, maybe some weapons.
Are you proficient with deception?
Not proficient, no.
Okay, just make me a charisma check.
Charisma check?
Yeah.
My deception is higher than my natural charisma, though. It's an 18 plus.
Well,
5.
it's still a skill check,
Yeah.
so it would still just be just a deception check.
The deception check is 25.
25.
Actually, 26.
Wait, what did you roll?
18.
What is your charisma bonus?
I have plus 5 charisma. I have naturally plus
Oh,
2.
I didn't
and then the
realize.
Stone of
I didn't
Weapons, which
realize
is
that
plus
you
1.
had a 20 charisma.
Yeah, I have a 20 charisma. I've taken that instead of balance.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. She. Well, I believe Calorin has sent word, but perhaps an in-person message will carry greater weight to fighting allies. Yes, I would go speak with Alaris for seeking items that will help you. She may be able to provide lightly enchanted boots or something that would help you walk, and lacrima to help provide warmth.
That's good to know.
They won't last forever, but there'll be something.
Yes.
Is there anything else?
It has to do with my boon. I know I'd mentioned before that I whispered something to her, but we never talked about it, so...
Yes, so we can discuss this now.
Yeah, my idea is... I'm wondering if there's a way to teleport a single person over long distances for a short period of time. I honestly just want to go home and see my family before I am thrown into whatever nonsense I get into.
Interesting. Teleporting to a location isn't the difficult part. Just teleporting back to where you were that is the part that's much more difficult. I could have some friends at the reliquary look into crafting something. Perhaps weaving a spell that will allow you to do something to that effect, but...
I mean, even if somebody came with me for a day, I just want to see them before I possibly die. You know?
I understand. I'll look into it.
Thank you.
See what I can provide. It might not be... It's not going to be today or tomorrow, but as soon as I can hear something, I'll send word.
Yes, well, Sindal has the ability to bring us back to the city if need be, so
As soon as I can find something.
thank you.
Out of curiosity, are you looking to travel back and forth to a single location? You may be in one place and looking to travel to the same place every time, or are you looking for two people to be able to come to one another, regardless of their location?
I'm sorry, repeat that?
Are you looking that you may be in location A, B, or C, but you're always looking to go back to D? Are you always looking to go back to where your family is, to your home? Or are you looking for some way for two people that you can be in one place and they can be in somewhere completely different, and the two of you could come together. How are you?
My idea was just to. I have many siblings. I was hoping just to visit with them.
Okay, so you're looking for you, regardless of where you are, to go to your home.
Yes. I mean, if there's an easier way, even if it's. I can.
No, that makes it much simpler to be able to travel to a single set location.
Yes, just my home where I came from. A town called Delran, far to the north.
I don't believe I've heard of it, but I'm sure we can figure out exactly where it is. I'll speak with my contacts for some way for this to work, and as soon as I can figure something out, I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Of course.
And much luck with whatever. Obviously, you have a lot going on here, so.
And you see, just at that, you see her shoulders just kind of slump as she just kind of falls into her glass. She's kind of resting her head on it. Yes, there's a lot going on here.
Is there anything we can do to help while in town for a day or two?
No, these aren't tasks that will be dealt with in days. They're things that will be handled over the course of weeks and months.
Fair enough.
If there's anything that we can think of that you may be able to, I won't hesitate to reach out, but I think you and your companions have done enough for the city for a while anyways.
Fair enough. Well, try your best to have a good day.
I always do.
Hopefully we'll be seeing you soon, and I'll just get up and walk out.
Sindal. So, you making your way to the reliquary, you show the symbol as you come to the gates, and you are admitted access to the reliquary. What would you like to do?
I would immediately like to go up and I will see Silvar, Master Silvar.
Okay, let me flip through my notes here. I don't know where these are in my notes. There we go. So, as you're walking in through the reliquary, you see very hurriedly scribes and wizards walking to and fro, carrying large stacks of books. People 9 to 5 scribing, taking notes of everything that their masters are saying. People just sort of errantly talking to the air, expecting the person that's following them to be writing down every single word that comes out of their mouth. As you start to make your way up the...
Does it seem as though anybody is like into or like worried about the fact that there's a dragon in Narc?
It seems very busy. Go ahead and roll me a perception check. 9. It seems busier than the last time you were here.
Okay.
Not necessarily more people, but people moving much quicker. As you are kind of taking a moment and looking around, and you start to make your way up towards the stairs, you feel a shift and you hear a snapping sound. Suddenly one of the straps on your pack breaks loose. Your whole pack kind of shifts. Taking a moment and looking, you can see that the cloth that is around the straps and on the back of the pack is beginning to rot through.
Ah, shit.
You kind of taking a moment and shifting your pack to kind of fit better over one shoulder. You make your way further up into the tower, where you find the same plain wooden door, knock on it. Door opens up. You find yourself in the same circular dark room lit by small torches of fairy fire. No shelves. There are a few shelves with a few tomes and scrolls scattered on them, but you see the small writing desk in the center of the room with a single chair on one side, and sitting in it is the slender, frail form of Silvar, his long pointed ears drooping out to the sides, his blind eyes staring forward as he runs his hand across the lines of tomes. Have you finished your reading, Sindal?
I have not completed the second aspect of what I was supposed to do. I'm not strong enough yet. I don't understand it.
I told you you were not to return until you have finished your reading. Is there a reason you have disobeyed the orders of your master?
Well, I have faced certain death, and I'm not certain when I might face it again, so I would like to sit with you.
Closes his tome. Sets to the side. As we said before, time waits for no man. Please. He gestures to the seat in front of you. Take a seat. What is this certain death that you have faced that would prompt you to come back to me?
Well, we have a Nocturnum, the group that I am banded with, have returned with word of a creature. What was that? Before it, hundreds of feet tall, has taken refuge in the city of Nock and claimed it for its own, and I've seen it face to face.
Ah, so you were one of the ones that saw this Wundris, as my colleagues have named it, from the word that we received from the Empress. You saw the devastation. You saw what it unleashed upon that city. That was a question.
I've never read of a creature that can wreak such havoc other than gods. And I saw it firsthand.
There are many, in the days of old, who believed that any dragon capable of such destruction was to be considered a god. I do not believe that this creature is such. The Raven Queen does not believe so either, as I have gleaned in my studies. However, this creature is a harbinger of death. And while there are those who wish to stop it, I am uncertain if this is a creature that should be stopped, or if it is simply an agent of death. We have spent as much time in this age as we spent in the last. Perhaps this creature has come along to spur on our civilization to the next age. Each ends in calamity. Perhaps this is the way of death, the way to move forward. But I am an old man who does not know the will of the Raven Queen. And my colleagues will not listen to what I think. So we are researching how to stop it. Is there something that you had in mind, something that you wish to speak with me about?
See, I just stand up and grab my bag. Your words and your teachings are too true on this matter. I'm sorry to have doubted. I'm glad that I stopped. I understand why I chose you as my master. If this is the way that things were supposed to be, then that is what they are. He will create and wreak havoc and create destruction, and death will rise from that. Not rise, but be created from that. I should have understood that on my own.
It is a way of understanding that given time and proper meditation will come to you. All life must come to an end. And all life ends in death, so that new life can take its place.
Thank you, Master Silva.
Of
Though
course.
brief, I've learned a lot.
I'm glad to help in what ways that I can. Remember to continue your teachings.
Yes. I'm
And
not
when
certain when I will be back, Kelsari.
I am unsure when you will be back either, but remember, if I call for you, you are to return. Abandon whatever task you have, and you are to heed my answer. If you do not, I will no longer be your teacher.
I will be ready, Master. Thank you.
Slides his tome over, flips it open, and continues to glide his hands across to read it. So, is there anything else you want to do with the reliquary?
Spell stuff. That's about it.
Reliquary, you have access to basically any spell that is 4th level or lower, including ones that are in Zandalar's.
Cool.
Um,
Xanathar?
yeah, Xanathar's. Wow, I've been saying that wrong. But as for the rest of you, what do the rest of you want to do?
Look for snowshoes.
Yeah, I'm heading to the magic item shop probably.
Alright, so as
Or anything else that would help. Snow.
I want to go to the tattoo parlor with Restay, but not to get a tattoo. I have something else that I want to discuss with her.
By the way, is that the name you remember?
Oh, I wrote it down. That's the
It's
one
the
thing
only
I took
name
a
he
note
wrote
on
down.
for 2 years.
Oh my god, you have a notebook?
Yeah,
It's
I bring it with me
I've
every
never
time,
seen
and
you hold a notebook
I
before.
never
he said that was his 2018 resolution was to take notes
take
in
notes
this
for
campaign
D&D.
now.
Who cares about personal health?
So, as the rest of you go searching for magic shoes, warm clothes, Lily, you see Lily have an idea and dart off.
See you. Not even say anything.
It takes some time asking around. Oh, excuse me. You guys are eventually meet up with Zarin as well. So his time wasn't very long. But you guys are eventually pointed to Alaris's clairvoyance, where you see that the shop originally burned down. The last time you saw it, she had barely stood up a few of the supporting beams. At this point, you see that the building is completed.
Looking just as grand as it used to.
the outside looking is grand. Walking in, you see that the shop is the size of the building. The last time you were here, it seems as if that there was a extra-dimensional space inside the shop, allowing it to be larger than it actually was on the inside. It seems as if that level of enchantment has not come to be, but there are shelves that are stocked with some smaller items, some smaller enchantment type things. You don't see any of the large display cases of weapons and staves that were here before, but as you walk in, you see the female Eladrin wearing her long flowing blue robes, her blonde hair kind of flowing out around her. Nocturnal, my friends, it's good to see all of you here again. What can I help you with today?
You know us, we can't go to a town without going to a magic item shop.
Well, I'm here to serve.
Is that our fucking motto?
It might as well.
You know us. Can't go to town without a
Show up somewhere, buy out the whole town of magic.
I can't wait to get to Verithma and go magic.
Nocturnal. Load up your magic shops, everybody. They're coming to town.
Verithma's a fort, essentially.
Yeah, we'll find one.
So, is there something here that I can help you with? Are you here to shop? Are you here to place specialty orders? Zon, I'm sorry to admit that I have not quite had the time yet to... I've started to work on the enchantment for that horn, however, it won't be done probably until spring.
I never asked you actually what it's going to do.
It's going to be a horn of blasting. Essentially, it will be a horn that, if you point it in the direction... in a direction of you will blow into it, and it will allow it will produce a very loud sound that has the potential to blast away your enemies or anyone else that's in front of you. If you don't like any of your friends, you point at them.
I kind of look at everybody and kind of wink at them.
I'm not there.
Yeah, it's just the four of you. But is there something that all of you wish to acquire? I have some very simple low-level enchantments and items here if you're looking for something to ease your everyday life.
Well, actually, that is something we're looking for. We do plan on going on some travels in the near future. Do you have anything that could help us with, well, dealing with the weather, getting rid of snow from our paths, some lacrimas or something to help?
Just ways to keep warm, perhaps, other than magical means, so we don't
Yes.
have to worry about our clothes getting ruined.
Some soup.
Soup, you'll want to go to the nearby restaurant.
A magical
I
thermos
don't
of soup.
provide
Self-replenishing.
food here.
No soup.
No, I have no soup.
What about-
Fenrir.
I know soup seems magical, but
What
it's
about
really just
magical
warming.
+1 soup?
You're not supposed to eat the lacrima.
I don't have any soup here, Fenrir.
Soup of
Magical
many,
or not.
Soup of many noodles.
However, traveling through the snow, I believe I can help you with. Is it just? Are we just looking for the four of you? I have boots that will allow you to. It will make your steps a little bit lighter. It won't help you in very many other cases. However, it will help to prevent you from sinking down through some of the snow.
That's what I was here looking for, except I didn't think I'd find it here.
Well, yes, I have some of these things. They're quite popular amongst people that insist on traveling in this nonsense outside. I don't know who would possibly want to go out there.
Let's just say
She
it's
looks
out
at
of
all of you.
necessity, but
So let's have a look at these. What?
There's 6 of us, by the way, and, well, Fenrir's companion. I don't know if you have anything that a dog could use, though. A wolf.
I think that will be fine. Fenrir?
I honestly don't.
let's
Me
just
dog-
focus on us.
just some
I mean,
socks
I
everywhere.
think the weather wouldn't be an issue, but as far as sneaking into the snow, I'm not sure.
Have you seen
Boots.
Tiny little doggy
They
boots.
hate having me. They hate
I don't know if they'll resize to fit your wolf companion. The boots are magical. They will resize to fit around normal feet. I don't know how to work around paws, though. I've never taken the time. We can figure it out before you would purchase them, clearly. I don't want to sell you something that you don't want. But give me just a moment, and I'll look into ways to keep you warmer as well. She kind of disappears into the back of the room, and you can see that there are a handful of
In
other...
addition to the usual interesting trinkets that you think we might find.
Fortunately, I haven't the time to restock yet. I only just got the shop back into into proper shape, and I've worked on producing some of my items that are my normal movers amongst the people. However, it's going to be a very busy winter in crafting of items. I have a few assistants that are helping me. About the time that his horn will be ready, I think the store will be back to producing the items that you're looking to purchase for coin that I'm willing to take. Give me just a moment. She kind of disappears into the back room. You can see that there are a few people, a few Eladrin, and other high elves that are walking through, and all of them kind of taking a moment and giving a group a kind of a wide berth, seeing Korak along with the two guards that are there. A few minutes pass. She returns, holding out. You can see a few. As she's kind of wiggling her fingers, as you can see a few pairs of mage hands are holding pairs of boots. As you walk out and they sit down, and they are all this very, very pale, almost like sky blue, with on the sides of them the symbol that is on the outside of her shop, a magic crystal ball.
Yeah, there you go.
You see the symbol of the crystal ball surrounded by a wreath. And you all kind of taking a moment and looking at them, kind of picking them up. The boots are extremely light, almost like feather, like weight of a feather light. As you see as well that she sets down a set of three small, almost iceberg shaped. They kind of come to like a jagged point, but three red lacrima. She says the boots themselves will make you a little bit lighter. They'll help to reduce the actual weight that you press down on this snow. They're waterproof as well, so your feet won't get cold or wet. They'll allow you to avoid some of the problem. The lacrima produce we'll say almost room temperature heat if you're in a room with a nice warm hearth. Each lacrima only has a charge that lasts a day, though, and it takes about 3 to 4 days to recharge. So I've provided you enough here that by cycling them out, if you're traveling long enough in this snow, that you'll be able to continually use them. The boots themselves will cost about 40 gold pieces per pair. The lacrima each will cost 100 gold.
Fair enough. 40 gold pieces for each pair of boots.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
As for your wolf companion, and she kind of reaches down and grabs 2 of the pairs. We'll test these out first to see if these will fit and work for your companion. If they do, then I can go and pull 2 more pairs from the back. If not, then I'm sorry, I won't have anything that will be able to help her in this for this weather. As you step out into the snow-covered streets, you see Lune just kind of laying huddled up against the building, kind of again where the snow, up against the building, like in between one of the snow drifts. As she kind of stands up and looks at as Alaris steps forward. Ooh, she is a marvelous creature, isn't she? As she kind of leans forward, you hear Lune just kind of let out this low growl, and her teeth kind of bare as she. Is she friendly? She's not going to bite me, of course. Right?
She won't bite you, but you may want me to go ahead and do what you're gonna do.
Yes, here you go. She kind of hands you the pair of boots. And you hear Lune just telepathically say to you, "What are those?"
These today are boots.
No booties for the puppy.
And unless you tell me otherwise, well, actually, you are a spectral image. So technically, you wouldn't feel the cold?
It's freezing out here.
You are cold.
Yes.
Alright. Well,
Lune charges in the
Lune.
You're like a shitty dog or whatever. Dressed up your dog.
These boots are gonna
Yeah,
help
but it's
you
useful. It's not just for stupid fucking going to the goddamn cafe.
keep your paws dry and warm and allow you to walk on top of the snow rather than sink down into it.
Do I have to wear them?
No, you don't. But if you don't, I don't want to hear about your paws. The entire trip.
Make a persuasion check.
17.
17. What's Lune's wisdom score? Wisdom modifier, I should say.
Nothing.
Okay.
Not a wise one.
She kind of sits down, holds out one of her paws.
Probably a good decision.
And you try putting on one of the boots. You put on the other one as well on her two front paws. She kind of stands up, sitting there for a moment. You see the boot sink in to fit around her paw. For the leg, the boot part of it shrinks a little bit. You can see as she kind of lifts up her paws, the end kind of flops because, she doesn't have the full foot. I don't know about this. She kind of walks over into one of the snowdrifts, and she kind of puts her paw into it, sinks partway. She kind of picks her other one up and kind of steps into it. Her back paws, not having boots on them yet, sink down the whole way through the snow, but her top paws are floating somewhat. Not floating, but your feet still sink in. You'll still be walking through almost like knee-deep snow, but you're not walking through like 5 feet of snow, so you're almost walking on top of her, basically. But you see that her top paws kind of sink in slightly. Fine.
Yeah? I mean, I'm not gonna buy them if you're not gonna use them.
Whatever you want.
This is up to you. This is your decision.
I won't be able to walk in the snow otherwise. I'll just slow you and your friends down. So fine.
Well, I want you near me, so I'm gonna buy them for you.
So, it was 40 pairs. It was 40 pairs of shoes.
77 shoes.
40 gold per pair. It would be 3 pairs for you, Fenrir. 1 for you and 2 for Lune.
Yes.
I'll just pay for them and get the gold from.
Yeah.
Yeah, just mark the gold off so I don't have to rewrite it. But we'll just have paid.
Like I have gold.
Funny story.
Do you have
No.
40 gold.
You don't have 40 gold?
Do you have any gold?
Yeah.
What do you have?
And
The shield
the
of honor
bookkeeper in fucking Narc or whatever is me 400.
in Narc or
Wherever it is.
I'm at 500.
You bet away the last of your gold.
I'm at 500.
Oh, son of a.
Yeah.
Well, Master Korak, if you don't have gold, perhaps either your friends can front the money for you,
Oh,
or
you're already in debt to Sindal.
No,
I will sell that shield.
I will cover
I
you.
might cover the
Cross my mind.
I'll trade you this 1,000-year-old relic shield for a pair of boots.
I will cover you for now.
I'm assuming that someone, if Sindal wants to mark down the gold,
Yeah,
that someone
I
will
think-
front that gold for him.
I think he said he was gone.
Yeah, I'll do it for Lily and Sindal.
You don't want to go more in debt to me, bro?
See, I don't even want these boots. I was looking
And
for,
then
where's
who's holding the three Lachrima? It was 100 gold for each, so it would be 300 for the triplet pair.
Does one person want to hold them, or do we just want to split it?
Oh, I'll put them in the bag.
You keep them in the bag of holding.
Or do we want to split the fee, or one of us up front to pay it?
I'm not paying
Oh.
for it.
Might as well split it. There's 3 gems. 3 of us could just buy one. I'll buy one.
I said to buy 3 pairs of boots.
3 pairs of boots.
Okay, you don't have to buy the gems, alright. I'll buy one of them.
You 50-50, or 150 each of us?
Sure, that's
Right.
right.
No one else can use them though if we split up. You and I take
It's
them
true.
What do these do?
We have all
Yeah, what do they?
They essentially provide the same warmth that you would feel in a home.
Oh, like a
In
shelter.
it, yes, it doesn't stop the wind, but it's almost as if it will feel like you're sitting next to a warm fire, as long as you're within a small radius around the Lachrima.
Got it.
So it will make you a little bit warmer while you travel, as well as when you make camp, however. They only last for so many hours, and then they have to recharge.
Yeah, like they just recharge after a certain amount of time.
Correct, yes. After they stop being used, they take several days to recharge. I provided you with 3 that should provide you a never-ending source of it, as long as you continue to travel. Is there anything else that I could possibly hope to provide aside from magical items? I still lack those. I sold off what I had.
Do you have anything else that we'd be interested in? Or are you fresh out?
I have things that will help you in your everyday life if you're looking for things to that extent, if you have anything in mind in particular, but...
I mean, I have prestidigitation now so I can clean myself. Anything clothing related?
I have some clothing that has minor enchantments to help, like dress shirts to help keep stains off of them, but that's...
I can do that myself.
If nothing else, I have several other customers that I
Do you
need
need
to attend to.
magic pens?
Magic pens? Yes, we have some quills that have an endless supply of ink within them.
I'll take one of those.
10 gold pieces.
I'm gonna go get some soup. Thank
All
you
right, all right, Fenrir, you.
for the boots.
I'm glad to help. If you find anything else that you need that can help you, please feel free to come back. If not, we'll see you when spring comes around, when the shop will hopefully be back to its full, wonderful state. Until then, stay warm. She kind of sweeps along to go and speak with several other customers.
Always like talking with her.
I think she likes talking to us too because we always spend money to store.
She's always telling me she has other customers.
Lily,
Meanwhile,
you walk into the...
Laying over a cherry in my tire
meanwhile,
bag.
with the Night Mother.
Lily, the Night Mother.
Meanwhile, Lily going to meet with her consort that is the Frozen Emperor. No.
Yeah. They suspect kind of a little bit.
Little do you guys know, that whole thing was a ploy for her to set it free.
I've
You
made
mean
some
her-
mistakes along
her
the
consort,
way.
You mean her servant?
Yeah.
So,
They'll never suspect that I'm the one in control of the waitress.
so as you walk into the tattoo shop, you see Rista, the young girl who you kind of, after speaking with her, she's pretty much the one in charge of the shop.
He's the best.
Lily, my favorite little degenerate. What can I do for you today?
I have a request. I don't want anything today, but I want to discuss something for the future. Potential future tattoo
All right.
that I'd like you to design if you have the time.
I've got the time
And
if you got the coin.
creativity. Oh, you know I have the coin.
But then what did you have in mind?
Should have asked for magic tattooing.
No. So, you do know that I am a part of Nocturnum. I'm sure you've heard of us.
Yes.
Yes.
Champions, Erato, the whole 9 yards.
Kidnappers.
Yes, we have.
That's not as widely spread.
So we have the titles, the notoriety, but what we don't have is a symbol. And what I would like to potentially have you do is design some kind of a symbol for Nocturnum, something that
Nocturne.
is eye-catching, and when people see it, they'll know. They know who it represents.
All right. I've got a few ideas. I could put something together. Not today.
Right. Obviously, I'm about to head out on a journey, and I don't know when I'll be back, but
Well, when you come
We'll
back.
all be back.
When you're back, I'll have that symbol ready for
I
you.
haven't read that one.
And
But it is something.
we'll see. We'll figure out where the best place to put it'll be.
all right. Do you want a down payment of sorts before I leave?
No, I think I'll be all right. I'll just come up with the idea for it. I'm all right with coming up with the ideas. I mean, just saying. You are champions. You're heroes here. I'm sure I could convince someone else, some drunk that comes in to get it. So if I end up liking it enough, I might add it to my normal rotation of tattoos. But we'll see. Whatever I come up with, I'll hold on to it at least until you come back.
It's just gonna be Fenrir's face.
It actually is just going to be him shirtless.
Right there, just right on.
Just rippling. No, I'm done.
16 pack. Just abs upon abs upon abs.
You sure I can't interest you in a tattoo today? Just something quick?
Well, what do you have? It would have to be quick.
Well, it would be more, what do you have an idea for a tattoo if you have anything?
I don't. I really don't.
All right. Well, hey,
She's slipping.
it doesn't need to be. We don't need to get one today. We don't need to have one today. I'll expect you to get 2 the next time you come in, though.
Well, okay, and the
Including this one.
The thing with this tattoo is I would like it, if possible, for it to be specifically reserved. Like for members of Nocturnum. Not something that just anybody can walk off the street and get.
Make a persuasion check.
Trademark.
I'll say with advantage. You've spent a lot of money on tattoos in this place.
Natural 20.
There it
And a
is.
19.
The most important natural quality.
Bam.
All right. What about this? I'll make a normal one for any pleb that comes into the shop. I'll make a special one just for you and your friends.
Okay. That sounds like a fair deal.
All right. Perfect.
That's
Get on it, Jim.
We fade back to our group, and I'm just like, just in casual conversation, and I will never get a tattoo. that's for sure.
But after another minute of pleasantries, you part ways from Rista. You all eventually find yourselves back towards the Heart of Magic, or not the Heart of Magic. Towards the center of the city where Sindal's father lives.
One last thing before I leave, though.
Sure.
Really quick. I would like to gather the few spells that I intend to learn, which it's not important, and find a room alone.
Mm-hmm.
And with my bag in my room alone, I'm going to clear the table. I'm going to actually.
Okay, so while you're figuring that out, you take a moment and speak with one of the people that work there, and
Sure.
they point you to a room that you can go and you privately go in, bolt the door. There's a small table and a few other shelves. You walk up, kind of set your bag, and you can see that the back of your bag looks as if that there are worn holes in it. It looks moth-eaten on the back, and you can see leaning up against the shirt that you had wrapped around the tome before is scraps.
Well, I'm just going to sort of separate things from the table away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stand up away from things in the immediate vicinity. I'm going to take the book in my hand. And I think I'm gonna. I think I already made that check. I'm gonna open it up and I'm going to look into it and I'm just going to think to myself, what is possibly destroying everything around this book?
As you reach into your bag, undoing the flap, reaching in and pulling out the tome, and you see it before you even pull it out, it is still in its normal, ominous form. Kind of pulling out the book, flipping it open, holding it. None of the text jumps out to you.
Slam it. Damn. And just put it away and set it back in the wrappings, the tethered wrappings and everything like that. And
Wrap it up, put it back in the backpack.
Continue copying down a couple spells that I have.
You jot down whatever spells it is that you're adding.
Sure, yeah.
And make sure to take into account the amount of time that it would take to copy these spells down.
Yeah.
So, I'm assuming that you're going to be doing that for more or less the rest of the day.
It'll be... I can give you the actual time. Hold on one second.
It's still pretty early in the day at this point.
Mark off money for the boots.
I did.
Just
a question about those.
later it's 2 hours plus... It's roughly like 4 hours probably.
Okay.
4 or 5.
Alright, so you spend most of the afternoon kind of writing in these spell books. The rest of you have the afternoon to yourselves in the city. If you guys want, you can go drink, eat, spend some downtime, do whatever it is that you wish to do. You guys spend the rest of the day doing whatever it is that you decide to do. Eventually, all finding your way back to your normal place of residence at...
Whoops.
Wow. I felt that.
I've been holding that in for a while. It just slipped.
The viewer count goes down.
Dude, people come for that kind of stuff.
Claim the fame.
You all eventually find your way back to Sindal's house, take your night's rest. What is it that you... So your goal in the morning, just for me to be clear, your goal now that you all have boots, you all have your 3 heating lacrimas.
Soup.
You went and got some soup.
Broccoli cheddar.
Should we look into buying another cart and a horse at least to pull the cart?
I don't think that's gonna work.
I will,
if we could
I will
travel
say
to-
plainly I cannot transport an
dumpling.
entire cart with a circle of
One
teleportation.
day, we will return to Narg and reclaim our cart along with
Well, it
Tor
doesn't
and
have
Brian
to
and our
be here. It
horses.
could be like when we're over at Barithma.
Well, the other problem is the snow.
We can travel with.
I have a question about.
We will get that
the
cart back.
boots. I assume I
cart
will still need them,
specifically?
but I have Landstride, which makes me not
We're quite attached
like
to our
difficult
horses.
terrain doesn't have any effect on me anymore.
Brian and Tor.
But I would still imagine.
So Landstride is what do you have that from? Is that a spell?
It is part of. It's something I get as a druid. I think it was part of my circle.
I don't know anything about this.
Or I just get it as just for being a druid.
Yeah, but we don't need a cart. We need a sleigh.
It's part of my circle. I got it at 6th level. I've never had to use it.
Okay. So
A big
snow
sleigh.
that is like 5 feet high, even for
Why are
you,
laughing?
like even with like Landstrider, snow that is like 5 feet high, that is impassable terrain. That's not difficult terrain for you.
Yeah.
With everyone else traveling with these boots, the group will be able to still travel through the snow for extended periods of time. In combat, it will count as difficult terrain, but in terms of just traveling, you'll be able to travel somewhat quickly.
Okay.
But for you, with this Landstrider thing and these boots, you will not be limited by difficult terrain in combat.
Okay.
In regards to the Lachrimans,
Mm-hmm.
and those keep them. Those keep how many people warm?
It keeps it in a small radius around.
A small radius around the person. Okay.
Correct.
Needlessly.
So yeah, you click the Lachrimas into place, and it provides the warmth in a small radius.
And they last
Portable campfire.
roughly how long? Sorry, I was kind of.
Each one lasts about a day, which is why, and then it takes 2 days to recharge after that, which is why you bought 3, so that you essentially have a continuing rotation. But yeah, so just to be clear, now that you have your equipment for the snow, your plan is to travel to Varithma
Yes.
and then go south from there, correct?
That's the only really path
But we
we
have to
have.
go east.
South and then east.
You want, yeah,
North, I
the
believe.
idea is to travel south, or get to Varithma, travel south through the gap in the wildlands to be on the other side of the mountains where they're on your north, and then travel east into the Shadowdales.
Yes.
That is your path. So,
That's why we're in Verithma. We can do a bit of research on the Shadow Dales and the Wildlands just to be safe. Do that there. They probably have information.
as all of you rest, you wake the next morning, gather up your things, and you head towards have a nice warm breakfast, and head towards the Elders Complex. Are you okay over there?
Is there any possible way to find a bag of holding or some other way to contain something?
Sindal gets even more evil.
What are you talking about?
Knows no one in the group.
You could take some time to try to find a shop. You know that, I've already forgotten her name because I already looked past it. You know that Alaris only she seemed to be out of all of her stuff. You know that, the original, not the original, but the bag of holding that Fenrir holds was...
It's the original bag
Well,
of holding.
Technically, it's not the original. They had the original bag of holding. But Fenrir found his in a different shop.
Okay.
Some shop that was not a magic item shop. It was like a pseudo potion, like random off-kilter items. So there's a chance you could fish around to try to find something. Or you could ask if Alaris could like custom order something for you. Like, you're not custom order, but like custom make something for you. If
You just gotta catch her during office hours.
but
No window.
What do
if you want her, if you would want her to craft you something quickly, specially, it would probably cost more money.
Limited options. Could I have? They're staying in my house, right?
Mm-hmm.
During the night, I have to try and do it. I would like to know where Fenrir is sleeping and locate the bag of holding.
So you know where he sleeps.
Good luck.
Sorry, buddy.
Make a stealth check.
Sure.
He's gonna gas you.
Not good. 10.
Keep in mind, he's sleeping with a wolf.
What is your passive perception?
Mine?
Better
Mhm.
than that. It's guaranteed.
47.
14?
14. So as Sindal, as you go to Fenrir's door, go to quiet.
14's Lune. I don't know what mine is.
Yours would be 10 plus your perception.
Oh, then it's 15.
Okay. So as you attempt to open up the door, it lets out this long kind of creak, and as you do, Fenrir Fenrir doesn't wake up because he's sleepy Fenrir.
That's...
However, as you do, you see Lune, her head kind of pick up and look in your direction. Her kind of sleeping on the floor in Fenrir's room.
Give me a second. I just sort of put my hands up and just go, oh. And just close the door and walk away from it.
You walk away.
Cool. Great.
Anything else?
Fuck, no.
Okay. I mean, you can get a new bag.
Yeah, I know.
So, as all of you gather up your things, eat your breakfast the next morning, you have a nice warm breakfast, gather up your things, and head towards the Elder's Conflux.
Cool. I'd like to approach Fenrir in the morning.
Okay. Fenrir's eating breakfast. You see Lune on the ground. As you kind of come down for breakfast, Lune.
With a whole
lifts
bunch
your
of
head up.
books that I have stored from my home. A big old bag.
You see Sindal walk down the steps holding a big stack of books.
Fenrir, I know you have your bag of holding. I cannot carry all these books.
Sindal.
It's the last time I'll be back here in Kalasari for quite some time. I'm not sure when I'll be back.
Those books look heavy. Are you tired from carrying them?
Well, your bag weighs nothing. I would very much.
We just, what time is it?
It's like early in the morning.
Are we
It's
all
pretty early in
here?
the morning. You look.
Yeah, you guys are all eating
Are
breakfast
you
at this
doing,
point.
Are you doing some sort of research?
It's a delicious one.
This is a conversation between us. No one else can hear this.
No one else is at
We're not at
breakfast.
the kitchen
Huh?
table.
Is
Breakfast
it?
table.
Is it?
Oh, no,
right in
the-
front of
I-
everyone.
I'd imagine people can hear. I don't.
Oh.
I
I'm
just
not worried about
imagined that he walked down for breakfast
Okay.
with this stack
Okay.
of books.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes, you are seeing this conversation.
I just asked, are you doing some sort of research?
Well, I always like to read, and I know you haven't seen me travel with many books. For that reason in particular, I'm...
A little late night reading last night?
Sorry?
Nothing?
Can you
Hey,
put
I've
these...
got an idea. Why don't we put those books into the bag of holding
This is my...
so that he doesn't have to carry them?
Oh, that's what you want to do.
That's very much what I prefer to do. I wouldn't like to... I couldn't take them without the bag of holding, and I don't have one of my own. I've always wanted one. It's an amazing, fascinating item.
Yeah, it is. It holds lots of stuff.
You can... The experiments I would try with... I've already tried with the ale, but it went stale, so I'm not quite sure where to go from them.
Spill.
Yes. It did not spill. It's fascinating.
Well, if all your books grow stale, they're not going to be very interesting to read.
Well, books are pages.
What kind of books are these?
Yes. The books?
Yeah.
Time for the night.
General research and
General
research and things I'm quite curious about myself.
General criteria.
Oh, you're a reader yourself, Fenrir. I haven't seen you read much.
I just go to sleep.
You pray and you speak to
I
Renee.
don't. Yeah, well, Lune talks to me.
Do you have
That's true.
anything particularly interesting there? I've been looking for something to read myself.
She told me something interesting this morning.
What are you... Specifically, do you have any sort of interest? There's only a few.
I'm not sure. Do you have anything that's particularly interesting there?
Well, since we're headed towards the Dark Frontier and the general areas, you see it's quite fascinating there, and I'll pull out a book from the Dark Room. Just
A history book, yeah.
yeah, sure.
Oh, thank you. The Dark
What was
Frontier is not where we're going.
What was it that Lune told you this morning?
Oh, that's no offense, Korak, but I don't share our conversations. She'd be very, very offended.
She just kind of looks back and forth, and then tears back into the meat that's put in front of her.
Soup.
You have a nice warm breakfast soup.
A warm breakfast.
Some breakfast soup.
He just has like tankards and tankards of something.
Most dwarves carry ale with them at all time. He just carries.
How many books?
Some dwarves just love a good soup.
How many books do you have, Sindal?
Only 7.
Because this bag of holding gets really heavy.
7.
I mean, I'm really strong, but
7 books weighs roughly 8 to 10 pounds. Have you seen how meek I truly am?
you are very weak.
You see as he's sitting there holding these books. He is literally trembling holding these books.
Well, let me take these off your hands, and I go and
Thank you.
take them off of him and hold them.
Does he touch?
And the bag of holding is upstairs, so I'll have to go up there and I'll put them there later.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was weird.
So, you all eat your breakfast. You go back up to your rooms to get your things. You carry up the stack of books, set them down.
I'd like to look through the books. Fuck, I don't know how to read.
Is it in there?
Absolutely.
Make just a perception check.
7.
Didn't require a lot.
11.
Kind of going through history book on different recipes and fine dining.
Soups. I look through
There's a wildlife in winter one too. Right?
You take a moment and flipping through it.
Book of soups.
How vigorously are you looking through this book on soup?
I don't know why. It's probably the snow, but I'm just into soups. so I really want to find some soups.
It's just really into
Fuck,
soup.
looking for some
This
recipes.
is like my
So
thing
you,
now.
so you get a little distracted in your reading of soups, and you start to hear everyone else. Fenrir, let's go! Everyone else is kind of calling for you downstairs, and you. Soup. Drop the stack of books. You get caught up in your soup.
God, mother.
Soupy Fenrir.
Mastermind.
Drop your stack of books into your bag of
Put that
holding.
soup book in there.
He knew.
There was also
I
a rule
asked
about
you how
sleeping.
into your soup book you got.
Well, I didn't know that's what I wanted to investigate the soups.
Well, there is a book that has several good recipes for soup in there.
I heard talk of the night
Nah.
about soup.
I don't like it.
There's a soup book, there's a sleeping book, there's a dog
So-
care book.
All of you heading to the Eldritch Conflux, using Sindal's circle of teleportation, going in through the motion, invoking the circle of teleportation. You understand that word has been sent ahead of you to expect people to be arriving from Kelisari. As you are all lifted up off your feet, excuse me, you all feel that sensation.
We were heading to Varithma, right?
Yeah.
I want to wild shape into the owl to be in disguise for when we get there, because I don't know. And I'm on Owlbear's shoulder.
An owl is currently sitting on your shoulder. How long does that last? We'll look that up for next week.
I get to hold it for 5 hours.
Okay. So as all of you feel that sensation of lifting off your feet, as the circle of teleportation is enacted, that's where we're going to go ahead and end tonight. Guys, thank you for anyone that was watching.
Thanks,
Jim. Yeah, thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Jim, that tattoo design.
Get on it.
Get on it.
We'll be uploading this to YouTube. Actually, probably tonight.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah, the whole spiel. We don't really have an actual YouTube handle. It should be down in the stuff below the description. We have a Twitter and Facebook. Twitter and Facebook.com/rollperspective. We'll be back next Wednesday for the next leg of our journey to Varithma and the Wildlands Beyond. Guys, thanks for watching. See you next Wednesday.
My dudes.
My dudes.
Dude.